If you work at Gartner and you are not thinking about how to optimize the use of the employer-provided benefits, you're missing out on tremendous value. One of the questions I get all the time is, Brian, what's the order in which I should think about using these benefits? What are the ones I should be using first? What should I be using a little later on if I have more cash flow? And we'll talk about benefits that you should be using if you're a high earner at Gartner and how to use all of them to their maximum advantage. Let's start with the 401k. If you work there, you are automatically enrolled in the plan. You have to actually opt out of the plan if you don't want to participate. There's no reason why you shouldn't be participating. It'd be likely a huge mistake not to. The way the plan works is they give you a match of 4% of total compensation. This is a little unique in industry, especially for larger companies, where they do it based on your total compensation, not just your base level comp. Gartner, as I'm sure many of you know, has a lot of salespeople where much of their income is derived from things like commission, bonus, etc. So 4% of total compensation is encompassing of all of those things. The annual maximum that they will give you, no matter how much you make, is $7,200. So keep that number in mind. Gartner matches up to $7,200. So we want to be filling that out. One of the issues with 401k plans is they have contribution limits. So it's $23,500 if you're under 50. You can do an additional $7,000 if you're over 50. Key thing to note here is that the $7,200 that Gartner provides, that does not count towards your annual limits that I just mentioned, right? That is a number above that, right? It actually goes all the way up to $76,500 if you're over 50. That's the true max in a 401k, something I'm going to talk about a little later on in this video. The next place to be thinking about is the HSA plan. If you select one of the health plans that allows for an HSA, HSAs can be tremendously advantageous to a personal financial plan. They are the triple tax-free, the only account type in the system that allows for that, right? Financial planners love HSAs. Tax-free when you put the money in, tax-free growth while it stays there, and tax-free distribution. A lot of people use their HSA like an annual savings account. They put the money in. Throughout the year, they use their company-provided debit card to swipe for the pharmacy, for co-pays, things like that. So they're paying for their health expenses with tax-free dollars. That's really, really valuable. The annual maximum is roughly $8,000 if you're doing it as a family, roughly $4,000 if you're filing single. So if you can max out your HSA, that's amazing, especially in the higher tax brackets, because you could potentially be saving 30+% more if you're in Connecticut, where a lot of people that work at Gartner are, or anywhere around the country that has state income tax. You're saving on that as well. You're paying with pre-tax dollars. Really, really valuable. The next leg down is the ESPP plan. This allows you to purchase employer stock, right? The actual shares of Gartner. You can contribute anywhere from 1 to 10% of your eligible compensation to buy shares. You get a 5% discount. That's a meaningful discount, especially stacked up over time. You need to make that decision for yourself about your confidence level in the company to continue to grow. Obviously, over the last 20 years, it's been quite a run for the company. It was $12, $13 a share 20 years ago. As I film this video today, it's over $500. It was as low as right below $100 during peak COVID. Right? So it's done tremendously well and has created a lot of wealth for people who work there. Allowing that sort of employee participation in the growth and success of the company is Gartner's intention by creating this plan. They want you to feel vested in the mission that they're pursuing. And it is a great way to build wealth, and a lot of peers, I'm sure people you know at the company that have been there long enough, have done exactly that. So it's a next step though. I wouldn't prioritize it over your 401k plan. I would not prioritize it over your HSA plan. But if you're looking to save additional dollars, the ESPP plan is a good way to do that. Especially for higher earners, the $23,750 maximum represents a smaller percentage of your total income as you obviously make more. So it is a good next step as you're going down the line here, past your 401k, past your HSA. And now that next and final level in the hierarchy of Gartner benefits, if you have a lot of cash flow and you're thinking about what is the best place for me to save and build my financial plan in a tax optimized way, is going back to the 401k. I produced a whole video specifically on just this topic, but it's called a Mega Backdoor Roth 401k. I know that's a mouthful, but let's dive into what that means. If you remember from just a few minutes ago, the true maximum in a 401k plan, if you're over 50, is $76,500. It's $69,500 if you're under 50. That's the absolute max you can put in a 401k, inclusive of your contributions and the company's. but the technical employee maximum is $23,500 or $30,500 if you're over 50. So if you're under 50, say you're doing the $23,500 and you're getting the additional $7,200 match from the company, you're at roughly $30,000, right? But you have another $39,000 that you could actually be deferring into your 401k, and most people don't know anything about it. When you go into Fidelity Net Benefits, the site that Gartner contracts to run the 401k plan, and you go to your contributions page, you'll see where you can contribute to a traditional or pre-tax account, you can do a Roth account, and then the last one is the after tax. This is where you're going to put that additional $39,000 if you're under 50, or more if you're over. It's really, really powerful. So what you do is you add after tax dollars, which means you pay tax when it goes in today. So you do pay tax, you don't get a tax deduction for it the way you would a traditional 401k contribution. But then one time per year, you go to the 401k plan, you can call Fidelity, have them help you do this. There's an 800 number right on your 401k statement, and tell them you want to do an in-plan Roth conversion of your after-tax dollars. They're going to convert that after-tax portion, say it's $39,000, and move that from the taxable side to the Roth side. And now you're going to be building up that Roth 401k bucket, which has a much higher limit than what you would be able to contribute in a Roth IRA outside of work, which is only $7,000 if you're under 50 and $8,000 if you're over. In this example, this person's able to get $39,000 into that Roth bucket each year. And all of the growth in that bucket is forever tax-free after that. You don't pay tax on dividends, interest, capital gains as you accrue them in the account, and eventually you can take all of it out tax-free. That is a tremendous value. The reason why you would do this is it differs, your alternative option rather, is to save it into a taxable investment account outside of work, where you pay tax on growth as you have capital gains, dividends, and interest each year. So we can grow in a tax-free place instead of a taxable place. The one caveat is throughout the year, if you have any growth on the basis of your contribution, say you put in $39,000, you converted it, it was worth $41,000, that $2,000 of gain, that is taxable to you this year as ordinary income. You'll get a 1099 for that. But this is an amazing strategy. Some companies offer it, most do not. The fact that it is available to you, especially if you're a high earner, gives you a tremendous opportunity to build up this tax-free bucket in retirement. I have other videos I put out on how you can utilize that tax-free bucket in retirement, but it gives you amazing flexibility when it comes to actually constructing your distribution plan when you're in retirement. Most people forever, they on this one path of saving for retirement. When you get to that stage in your life when you're transitioning towards spending in retirement, you need that tax flexibility. How do you actually take money out of your savings to replace the paycheck that you were making from work? That's a big, big deal. There's all these different thresholds in the tax code that trigger additional taxes. What your Medicare is charged at, can you get free health insurance before you're 65? Capital gains tax rate, Social Security taxation, all of those things are decided based on what your tax return says your income is. So to be able to have a place that you can take money from that doesn't show up on your tax return, that's tremendously valuable. One final note on the 401k is to remember how they automatically enroll you. They're automatically going to enroll you in a target date investment fund provided by Vanguard. Vanguard has a fantastic reputation. They have some of the lowest costs in the industry, which is a huge factor and really valuable. The target date funds are, in my view, not 100% ideal. The reason for that is how they represent the bond portion of your savings, which increases more and more so as you get closer to retirement, closer to that target age. They use the bond index, which as I sit here today has a grand total return of roughly 0% over a 5-year period. That's pretty challenging. There's other options that you may want to consider outside of just using that index option, but in a target date, you're not able to do that. The other downside is the way they calculate their formula to represent your stock or your equity makeup. It has a heavy allocation towards international equity, which has essentially underperformed US stock every year for the last 15 years in a row. So those two things are a little challenging. It's much better than the default, which is go into cash, but there are other opportunities for you to build out a better mix that might be reflective of where you want to be for retirement. So these are the 4 levels of savings vehicles that Gartner offers that I think are most advantaged and should be thought about when you're constructing a personal retirement plan. There's a lot more nuances to each of these. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're interested in this type of content, please subscribe. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. If you found this content helpful, you found it informative, awesome. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, connect on LinkedIn. I'm going to be putting out more content just like this to help Gartner people understand how they can maximize their financial opportunities while working for the company. If you have other questions that are a little bit deeper that I wasn't able to dive into in this video, or you have questions about how it pertains to you individually, awesome, totally okay. Go to the link on my website. There's a space where you can book some time with us. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Help you as much as I can. It's complimentary. I'll point you in the right direction. If you have other questions, we can tackle those too. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.